Okay, we're going to open the select board meeting on March 27th at 11 a.m. We'll all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Hi, Tammy. Okay, there's a lot on the agenda here just for updates that are things still going on, but I don't want them to drop off because lots of times they end up getting lost or they get shuffled around. So the accountant position update, we're just within negotiations, so there's nothing official yet on that, but we're working on that. The Agricultural Commission mission statement and guidelines. We have
edits, yeah.
Yeah, and we have to take time. I really didn't have time myself to really look into this more, so I would just like to postpone it till next meeting, so we all are on the same page and we all, if we have any questions, we know what they are rather than.
Okay.
I agree with that.
All right, so we'll look at that. I'll take these home. What? Okay, next community sign update. I know the issue was with the electrician and you
Yeah, so I did reach out to the electrician. It would appear that he wants the sign installed before it gets wired. I'm not clear on that.
okay.
And it has a plug, so I'm not clear on whether we go with an outlet or do a hard wire in. So as soon as I know that, I will update you.
Okay. And church was canceled Sunday because of the weather, and I didn't see how I was going to tell them about the plug because I think that would, if
Yeah,
that's
I sent him a
feasible,
picture of
if
it.
that's feasible and reasonable, I think that'd be the way to go.
I mean, if you had a plug that or outlet that's upside down,
Yeah,
it
so
wouldn't
water
collect
can't get
water.
in there. And actually, I have outlets outside, then they're waterproof.
Yeah.
But if possible, I think that'd be the way to go unless he has a good reason why not.
Did you have a chance to see if we had any funding available in any to get the second side of the sign so we can get it all done at once?
Well, there are obviously some, well, not obviously, but there are some ways to do that if we, because free cash has been certified. So if we can't find a local source, because there's some other expenses that are going to be coming up, and I'm struggling to find out how to pay for them, that, we could put that on a warrant for the town meeting.
Gotcha. I know we were either talking possibly ARPA or the technology fund, and you mentioned one other one.
Yeah,
and last meeting you were going to check and see what we had for balances on those.
Yeah, the ARPA we have at 23,000. So it could come out of there. And we also have, I don't know what's in the balance for the technology fund. So I will find that out. That technology fund is funded from the cable franchise fee.
If we do have money
Which we have.
in one of those accounts for it, I just would not wait for the town meeting.
Okay.
Because it'd be nice to get that up
I
there.
just want to get this,
Yeah,
get
exactly.
the second side ordered for it, get it all installed at once, get it watered all at once, and move forward with this.
I agree.
just don't want to keep kicking it down the road here. So
Yeah, so
if for next meeting, if you can
we'll just,
I will.
let us know where, and then we can make a vote next meeting on where to pull it from and get that sign in order.
okay.
Just going to run out and grab you.
Okay, Marilyn, the change in dog licensing application from May to June.
I don't know, did you get, I'll get the one I wrote up, the articles for town meeting. I sent you a
Yes, I did get that
proposed
email.
thing
Yeah.
for the
Oh,
article.
yeah.
Because I'm assuming we'd have to bring it to town meeting. So that was just my language for the articles for the town meeting. It's to change the licensing and also to the removal of dog litter.
Yes, and I agree, both of those should be on the warrant article, but I think it would be easily
I don't
passed.
know. I kind of did some surfing around to make sure the language was clear and pretty much like other places.
Yep.
So, I didn't want to make it sound like I was being a little archaic or anything, so I said I'll follow something somebody else may have done.
Yep.
So that's where I got the language from for it.
Yep. I agree, and thank you for your work on that, because I think it's necessary that we do it. It's going to make it more efficient, and people need to be responsible for their pets.
Right, right.
Okay, anything else on that, Carol, or? All right. Warrant calling for the election dates, we have that right here. I guess I'll read this. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of said town qualified to vote in elections to meet at the polling place in said town, namely the Clarksburg Community Center at 712 West Cross Road, in said town on Tuesday, May 14th, 2024, from 12 noon to 7 p.m. for the following purposes: to choose by ballot for a period of 1 year, a moderator, 1 seat, and a tree warden, 1 seat. To choose by ballot for a period of 3 years, 1 select board seat, 1 school committee seat, 1 board of health seat, 1 library trustee seat, and 1 war memorial seat. To choose by ballot for a period of 5 years, 1 planning board seat. To any of the police officers of the town of Clarksburg, you are hereby directed to serve this warrant by posting 2 or more attested copies of the same in the town of Clarksburg at least 7 days before the time of holding said meeting. Given under our hands this 27th day of May, 2024, and we're all signing that. So that's for the warrant.
27th of March.
Yeah, because they're gonna sign it today.
Yeah, sign it.
They're signing the
Oh.
warrant, they're signing it today, so that's the date you want on there, and then,
Right, no, you said May.
oh, we said May.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it says, given under the hands this 27th day of May.
Okay.
Oh, I gotta change that then.
So what you can do is scratch it out, put right in March, and then just initial
We
it.
need to amend that, yeah.
All right. Sure that. Okay, approval of early voting. I read that there was the paper going around. We're all set for.
Right, that was something that the governor passed in 2022.
Yep.
In order to, you have to, the select board or city council, whichever, has to approve your early voting for your local elections.
Okay.
If you don't, if you opt out of the early voting, then you have to have a public hearing to opt out. So I said, it's no point in opting out. We'll
No.
just do early voting. It's not a big extra job.
Okay.
Not many people come in and early vote anyway, but the option will be there, and it's a much simpler, cleaner process than having to have a public hearing and then vote on it. And that's just, to me, it's just too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
And I mean, have to be here anyway on one of the early voting days for the last day to register to vote. It's not anything major to the clerks to have to do.
Okay.
So I think it's just a cleaner process to go with the early voting.
Okay,
And
so,
we're making it as easy as possible for the voters. I mean, I only had 4 early voters actually come into the office the last election. I had a lot by mail. I think I had about 160 by mail, which I have again for this election too. So I just think it's a cleaner process.
okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the early voting.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, Marilyn.
Yeah.
Amend the previously approved fourth quarter water sewer commitment to reflect to be the third quarter. So we can amend that by vote,
Excuse me.
or Crowd, do we have that, can amend it by vote, or do we?
Okay, signed here. Do we need to cross it out, or do we need to get a new copy to sign?
I would cross it out and initial it.
Okay,
I found that when I went to file the fourth quarter one, that previous one, instead of saying third, it said fourth.
okay,
So it just needs to be crossed out and initialed because it was voted on, so it needs to be amended.
okay, so I will cross the fourth out and put a third in.
Yes.
Thank you.
and then we'll just initial it. Okay, thank you, Rochelle. Okay, school lift update. I guess the check went out.
The check went out, then it's in production, then they contacted us to rehash the color,
Oh, okay.
which we told them last year, but it's a gray. Gray goes with everything.
Yeah.
So it's in production.
Okay, and they expect that to be installed in June,
Hopefully.
before summer school starts in July. Yeah,
Yep.
a little bit under the gun, only because production takes, I guess, between 8 and 12 weeks or whatever. But hopefully everything will be on schedule. But
We've been
it's in
proven wrong
production.
before.
All right, next is school roof update. I just wanted to let everybody know that I been in touch email with Paul Mark to, as you know, it's been a 6-year process trying to get the state to give funds for our new roof for the school. And I just gave Paul Mark an update of everything we've done over the last 5 years. And he wanted to know who I've talked to in the state, and I gave him a list of everybody I've talked to and how it sort of come right back
Excuse me.
to him. So he said he'd look into it. So hopefully that will be some progress. If for some reason the roof has a couple of leaks in it and stuff,
Yes,
but
it
if for
does.
some reason that this is going to be a big delay, we may have to find another route to go, because I mean it's something we have to pay attention to.
So our Green Communities application for a new round is before us. So I've bounced off of the Planning Commission that we would like to insulate the school roof. We would like to install solar racking on it to allow for after a roof is on for solar panel installation. It's a nice bright sunny spot. So they're looking into that. Obviously, they would be interested in the insulation and the racking. I was on a Green Communities with Ann Goby webinar this morning, and I did pose that exact question. And the recommendation from Mr. Mason, I believe it's John, our regional coordinator for Green Communities, indicated that for the component of the roof that he recommended the MSBA route.
Okay.
And that MSBA is no longer basically outlawing, if you will, for lack of a better word, using MSBA money for energy improvements. And then lastly, if it goes through the MSBA program, unless we find funding, we're going to come up short about $167,000. Understanding that the roof is going to be just shy of $500,000. So it's better than having to pay for the whole thing, but at the same time, you know, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to do that. So we're trying to attack it from a number of areas.
Yeah, I've talked to a person in administration and finance to the state, and also the MSBA, Matt Donovan, and that is what they said, that we have to have the matching funds. But I sent everything to them that we've done over the last 5 years, and we put in nearly $1 million besides a lot of labor and people doing things. So I'm building the case that I feel we've done far more than matching funds, so there may be other avenues there too. But anyway, we're still working on it, and it's something that's not going to go away. We got to take care of. Okay, the Safe Routes to School update. The state, Mass DOT came out yesterday, and Carl and I and Kyle were among the people. Tara Barnes, there was a lot of people that walked the whole route from Eagle Street and Holton Street intersection, West Road intersection, all the way down to the senior center, and they were looking at culverts. They were looking at the width of the road, what if they can extend anything, and they're going to go back and come up with a proposal. They're not sure exactly what can be done. It's in a very preliminary stage, but at least it's moving on. I want to thank Tara Barnes for submitting the grant. The grant could be up to $1.2 million. And the important thing is we have safe routes around that school area and town field area. I mean, people are walking there. We're trying to make the town field more of a center for people to come and be there, and with MVP possibly have walking trails all in there. So we really want to make sure that that roadway's safe through there, but do it in a reasonable manner. And anyway, they listened to us, and they're going to get back to us on what can and cannot be done.
So is that where it's gonna stop, is at this, pretty much where the senior center is?
Yeah, they did look at going all the way to Middle Road. I think that's still on the table, but there was, and I wasn't in all the conversation with so many people there, but it was something to do because it was outside of a quarter mile or whatever. They weren't sure, but they were going to look at that on a map. So that may be in or out of play. Again, it was a very preliminary thing, but they did have a lot of people there from the state, designers and engineers from Mass DOT and Lennox even came up. So they're definitely going to tell us what they can do.
Excellent.
All right, audit update.
Okay, so I was in chats with Donna, and I reached out to the auditors at Adelson, and so then to do an audit, they had some questions, so they're talking with Donna right
Okay,
now.
great.
But I believe that we're going to be able to get this on track. They wanted to make sure certain things were done, which they have been. So I'll keep you posted as
All right,
when there's a decision on that.
sounds good.
No, we're still putting out an RFP on that?
There's not a whole lot this is the company that we've used historically. There's not a lot of auditors that do municipal auditing. Tom Scanlon we used to use years ago. You can't get a hold of him. He's in such demand. I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine. I don't know that it's going to benefit us.
Okay, no, that's just what you had for a plan before, so that's why I was,
And I've looked around and
Yeah.
I've asked questions, and to get somebody on this side of the state is not an easy task.
gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
Addison, because didn't Addison tell you before that they're too busy, or,
Yes.
so they're coming around a little bit on that?
I think that the fact that Donna's involved has helped a lot.
Okay,
Yeah,
excellent.
I think a lot, they are so busy, and we have been in such a mess over the last 3 years. I think they just thought, oh, we don't have time for that. And I think now that we're getting things straightened out, they might take a second
good.
look. And they're right out of Pittsfield, which should
Yeah.
be good.
Excellent.
All right, the MVP update, had a Zoom meeting yesterday afternoon. The designer is coming up with some ideas. I think the good news is they're going to be able to do some walking trails and bridges and stuff around the town field. The bad news, and they're still working on this, nothing's in stone, but they're really worried about everything being in the floodplain on the four corners, and that more water's coming in, and there's not a lot they think they can do. Like, they can't dredge the Hudson Brook or Tamarack Brook and try to get water away, but they are looking at different ways to try to do just that, to try to get the water away from the households there. But anyway, also part of this is the school's involved with Flying Cloud, and they're going to have a design challenge, which I think is good.
Yes.
But how that's going to affect us is when the kids come up with what they have as a plan and whatever, they'd like to present it to the select board. And it's probably going to have to be in the evening because it's going to be in joint with an MVP thing there. And I did tell them, I said, we would be pretty flexible. We want to make sure that we're all included and they're heard too. So
Yeah, absolutely.
when the time comes, I'll give you further updates for that.
Sounds good.
Okay, next is the Briggsville Water District.
So we did get a grant from FEMA Go for $500,000. So now we're working on trying to come up with the $140,000 match. I did reach out to Ann Goby, Director of Rural Affairs, and she sent me toward Senator Markey and Senator Warren's offices. And so I've completed a request for an earmark in the federal budget that could has possibilities, but at the same time, the new budget, in theory, think if you're just being a rational person, they're just passing last year's budget now, which it was due last October.
Yeah.
In theory, they would be able to pass the budget upcoming, which could potentially have this earmark October 1st if they can get their act together. So I'm still going to look at other sources
Okay.
of that funding, and that's to design the upgrades and the replacements for the water lines, the laterals, install meters and shutoffs. And we did close on the 2.6 acre parcel directly behind the spring, and which is going to be location of the new water tank. DEP says which is part of the engineering. DEP says we have to have a 2-day water supply, which would be about 30,000 gallons. Our current storage capacity is 1/10 of that. So things are moving along, albeit slowly, but they are moving, and that's a good place to be.
Okay. Well, thanks, Carl, for all your work on that. And you say the $500,000 grant, that's,
We've got that,
Okay.
and we have to have the match.
yeah.
So that's kind of where we are right now.
Okay, and that, just so people know, that match has to come from the Briggsville Water District,
Yes.
so.
Well, the town could offer it up too,
Well,
but you know,
They could. I mean, that's-
I'm a realist here.
Yeah. All right, Mass Works update.
Okay, so the portal for submission is going to open next week. We were contemplating doing the Upper West Road culvert, which is 8 feet in diameter by 40 feet long. It's kind of known as the White Bridge to the locals, which is severely perched, and the culvert's in tough shape, to say the least. So we went with a DER application for that. Department of Ecological Restoration, which has safe streams crossing and also the ability for the fish and the creepy crawlers to get up and in and out, up and down the river through the culvert. So this will be the 3rd time that I've applied to DER for this. So that's $400,000. And we should have some idea midsummer on that. So next week on our Mass Works, we have a number of projects we would like to submit, understanding that there are certain categories. So like we want to do the strap grant for South Middle Road. We have a concrete retaining wall on Crossroad that needs to be replaced, and that's about a $400,000 endeavor. We have some work on the sewer that we would like to also accomplish with that too. That's an infrastructure. So here's the thing, is that we don't want to submit 2 projects that our own projects are competing against each other, and they're only going to allow 1 project per category, is my understanding. So if we're going to have the best shot, we would probably want to utilize as many categories, segments, yes, as possible.
Yeah, and I'm gonna come in next week, we'll talk and make sure how we do it, because like, we don't want to have any competition for the strap grant for Middle Road, because that's top priority, get
I agree, yeah.
the Middle Road done, and then we'll try to find the categories and fine tune it. So we got other.
And just as a sub note, we're not done with the north section. All of the culverts have been replaced, the prep work, the site work. So when the weather breaks, and God knows when that'll be, then the paving will start in earnest from Route 8 up to Wood Road. And so we're excited that that's going to be happening. So half of the spine of the town will be done, and then we're attempting to get funding to complete that. So the goal is to have Middle Road from stem to stern renovated and free of all of
Yeah,
the speed bumps.
The north end is a mess. I've got several people saying, I tell them, I said, well.
It's only
as soon as the weather
temporary.
breaks, yeah, I said, and then we're not gonna spend money fixing it because in April,
And it's a different world than we're used to. I mean, between supply and demand issues, and a lot of people, because of the bipartisan infrastructure legislation, there's a much larger demand for construction projects and understanding where we are located. We're not in the center of the state where we can draw a lot of contractors from all directions. And then supply chain issues also. We've gone to bid on a number of times on certain projects and haven't gotten any response. He who has the deepest pockets gets the bids, I guess. So it's a slower process, and we will get through it. But
I mean,
there are challenges that we're
yeah,
not used to.
But for the north part of Middle Road, I mean,
That's a done deal.
right, that's a done deal, and they should be finished with that
In May,
in May, so.
Yep.
Once the weather breaks, it'll be a fast move, hopefully get that done, because that road's a mess. Okay, the 2025 budget, the cost of living wage, last time we were talking about what, I had a chance to look over the budget and look at the situation and inflation numbers for over the years, and we tentatively said 3.5%, and I think today we ought to vote
Formalize.
on formalizing it. So I'm in favor of that. If you are, Dan?
Yep.
Want to make a motion?
might as well.
All right. Make a motion that we give the cost of living wage of 3.5% to our employees.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye. And I will say that we have good employees in the town of Clarksburg. We're really doing well.
We don't have a lot, but
We're doing well. I appreciate all the work and all the quality people we have. All right, next, are there any public comments? Hearing none, we can adjourn the meeting at 11:27. All in favor?
Right.
Aye.